Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of this video from Moon Valley by Maria Trolle. This picture also being in her compilation book Universe. Now we have done a little bit of work on here already. I have grabbed my burnisher actually because having come back to this after popping next door for a little while, I realised that I feel that the tulips need to be a bit more solid in colour, but I don't want to add any more pink or white or anything like that on there. Now, I could use a blender. Now burnisher's a bit scary because once you've burnished you can't put any more layers of colour on top, but looking at these I am happy with how they look. I'm not going to be putting any more layers on top, and what the burnisher does is it just flattens the tooth and pushes all the colour down in, so we get a much more solid looking flower. I don't know if you can see the difference, but I'm just going to burnish my tulips. This is the Derwent Burnisher. You can use a blender if you'd rather. A blender would work probably almost as well. They are, I don't really know how they're designed, so they're different, if you know what I mean. But I do know that once you burnish something it's very difficult to colour on top. So it needs to be the very final layer. And a lot of people only use them for things like beaks and claws and things that they want to look really shiny. But I feel that these tulips would look quite solid, you know. So that's why I'm doing this. Just going back to do that one. And then we're going to move on to the hair, which we won't be burnishing. I'm also not going to do the leaves because I'm not totally sure if I'm finished with them. I think I am, but I know I'm definitely finished with these florals. So I just wanted it to look, I just didn't want to see quite so much paper showing through. I don't usually use my burnisher, to be honest, but certain brands of pencil just leave white flecks of paper more than others. And sometimes I'm quite okay with that, and today I just looked at this and thought, you know what, I want to just burnish it a little bit. So I am going quite fast, or very fast, but it's not, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just rubbing the burnisher over them, and there they are. And they still don't look flat because we've got that gradation of colour in them. Then that's good. I'm happier with that. It may not make any difference to you. You may wish not to do that, but there we go. Right, let's choose our base hair colour. I'm thinking the brown ochre is a good place to start. It's, I don't want to sound rude, it's a little bit wishy-washy for what I'm looking for in the hair, but it will make a good base colour. So that's why I'm using it. There we go. There we go, brown ochre. And I'm just going to go over and let's push it up a tad, all of the hair with this in a sort of evenish coating or layer. I'm going to try and colour in the direction that the hair is drawn. Then if you can see any streak marks or lines, it will actually work very nicely with what's drawn there. So I'm just sort of going back and forth a little bit so that we've got a reasonable colour amount of layers like that. I was just having a little look at my Derwent pencils actually, these Lightfasts, and seeing which ones I was missing, because I've got the 72 set and there are now 100, and I was seeing what are the words what extra ones there are that I'm missing. I bought a couple of greens. I bought the mountain green and the basil, but I was a little bit disappointed because they're actually quite similar to each other and they're not that far away from the vivid green. I think if you added the racing green and the vivid green you'd probably get that sort of shade. So I was a bit like, that probably wasn't the best choice to buy. I also bought the dark honey, which is quite similar to the brown ochre or sandstone. I don't know why I bought that one, but anyway. So I was having a look and thinking, you know, what do they have open stock on Amazon, for example? The answer is not a lot. They have a pack of 6 natural brown colour. I don't need that one, although mine's getting shortish. They have one that's been incorrectly named on the listing, and it's actually a grass green, which obviously I do need. You saw that if you watched last session, you see the height, the size of my grass green. I do need one of those, but the postage was £8 for one pencil. So, woo! I don't think so. And that was all I could find open stock on Amazon. So I did have a little look on Colour Pencil Shop, which is where I buy my open stock pencils normally. And I put together a basket with all of the missing pencils. So 28? No, I've got 72, 28, that's right, minus the 3. So that's 25. But plus 4 that I are running down a bit. So that was 29. Maths has left me. And then the postage on top, and that was about £90. So, woo! And then I thought, well, actually, you could buy a whole new tin of 100 from Amazon resale, where the tin's damaged, but it's okay because I keep them in a pencil case anyway. The tin's damaged because it's a return, and it's £154. Or you can get a brand new one from a different seller for £174. And I'm thinking to myself, is it worth buying those open stock ones for that price? Is it better to just get a whole tin? But in the end, I didn't get anything because I actually don't have the budget for buying new pencils or the space. So I didn't buy anything, but it was fun looking, and yeah, I may have slipped the tin on my wish list, but that is a very expensive item to be on there. But I just popped it on just to remind me of my thoughts about the pencils. Just realised something, hang on. What I realised was I forgot to put on my microphone, so the sound is now going to get loud as I draw it towards me. I'm really sorry that I forgot to do that. Little habits. I'm feeling a bit sleepy this afternoon, so that's my excuse. I don't know why. It's not particularly warm, it's not particularly cold. I got a reasonably good sleep. I felt like I had a broken sleep, but I slept a lot of hours, so I don't know what's going on really. So I'm sorry about that. So the beginning might be quiet and I might have just deafened you. Oof. At least the microphone was on, which was better than other videos where I've completely forgotten to put it on, switch it on. Whew. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've been thinking more about storage, and we were talking about having to rearrange the room a little bit because one of my sons doesn't like sitting next to his brother, and so we're going to have a bit of a rejig, I think, of the room so that he doesn't have to. It's probably going to be that he will swap where he sits with where I sit, which is probably okay. It means that I won't be able to see the TV from where I sit, but I can barely see it anyway. I have to push my chair back to see it, so I'll have to do that even more, but that's okay. Now, let's think about hair. Now, our colours get very, very dark very quickly. We don't have a huge range of browns, but I'm going to grab the Van Dyke brown, which is the sort of next darkest brown. I'm trying to decide whether to just draw little brown strands all over the hair or whether to do a bit of shading with this. I think I'm going to draw brown strands all over the hair, and then we'll do shading with an even darker one. That's what I'm going to do. So I've just sharpened it. We're going to just sort of draw lines like this just to make it look more hair-like. Because we want it to look like there's a few more strands than those that have been drawn on, if you know what I mean. This is a different way to sometimes how I do hair. Sometimes I sort of start making the each curly bit darker at the base and tip and lighter in the middle to make the hair look a bit shiny, but we're just doing this a bit differently. There. There we go. It smells like it's raining. Do you get that smell? We had that yesterday. It was rained really hard. But I don't think it's supposed to rain that much today, or the chances of rain is quite low. They just follow the order, the direction that the lines are drawn. So it's not, there isn't too much thought really, because you're just doing what's there already. It can be quite meditative. Okay, my son's singing again. I don't know whether he's in the bathroom or whether he is singing so loudly that I can hear him from his bedroom 2 floors up. I reckon he's in his bedroom. I think he's a bit too far away to be on the floor just above me. I'm sure this bit is supposed to be a bit of that. But anyway, it's too late now. I committed to making it hair, didn't I? You may have disagreed with me and done it slightly differently. Saw the cutest little wren last night in my garden. It was underneath one of my plant pots. I've got a plant pot. It's only plastic. It's nothing too fancy. And it's got little legs, so it's slightly raised from the ground. And the little wren was underneath it. It came hopping out on the fence round the garden. It was just the cutest thing. Saw one this morning as well on the canal path. It's so cute. So tiny as well. Little ickle birds, so that was rather sweet. I also last night saw some long-tailed tits in the trees over the back. To me, it makes it sound a lot fancier than it is. There's an ash tree growing in the garden over the back, which grew from just self-seeded, you know, and there was a wren in there. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, we've been thinking about that we could do with a bit more space and things like that. My son said to me, it made me very sad. He said, Mum, in 5 years' time, I won't be here anymore, so you'll have all my space. I said, well, I don't think you take up that much space. He said, well, I'll take my desk and chair with me, because he bought it himself, but that's up in his bedroom. It doesn't really free up any usable space really, because right in the middle of the room sort of thing. I was thinking, oh, I don't want to think about my babies leaving home, but yeah, he is right to some extent that when him and his brother leave home there will be a bit more room. But I think I said to him, you know, but if you moved really far away, I might want you to come and stay, and I need your room ready for you, and you might want to come back home. And if we fill your room full of stuff, you might feel like you're not welcome. He said, oh, I never feel like that. So that was nice. I said, you'll always be welcome to come back. But it's tricky. It doesn't produce that much space. Husband's decided that in the understairs cupboard there's some stuff that can be put in the garage, and that'll free up some space in the cupboard for some of the stuff that he's got. I'm not entirely convinced it's going to free up as much space as he thinks, but I'm going to let him look and let him try, because, you know, he's trying, and that's nice. So he's thinking about this, but there's a lot of stuff in that cupboard that's got to stay in there. Oh, I wanted to get stuck in the sharpener, this pencil. Natural brown. I'm going to do the same thing, I think. Yeah, so in the upstairs cupboard there are 6 chairs. They have to stay in there. Folding chairs for when we have guests. There is a vacuum and a mop. Stay in there. There is a safe, which can't go anywhere else. There is... what else is there? Yeah, there are 3 boxes of videos, but they're sort of long, thin boxes, which he says can go in the garage. So that would be useful. And a sort of ballet bar exercise thing, which really I think needs to go to a charity shop rather than anything else. But anyway, so that will free up a little bit of space, but it's quite tricky to fit stuff in there because it's under the stairs. The cupboard is sloped from the steps, you know, and so that makes it a bit trickier to fit things in. So anyway, we'll see. If he can free up a bit of space, that'll be nice. But I'm still decluttering my stuff bit by bit, more and more. You know, trying to use things up as well rather than just getting rid, because that's a bit wasteful. So like, you know, I've said to myself, I'm not buying any more cards until I've used up all the ones I've got. I'm going to have to buy some Christmas cards because I've got a few. But, you know, birthday cards, greetings cards, thank you cards, that sort of thing, to use up the cards that I've got for that purpose. And then notebooks. I've got some really lovely notebooks that I use for particular things, but I've also got some scrappy ones that I use for quick notes and things. So rather than buying scrappy ones, you know, cheap ones, I can just use up the ones that I found out of the cupboard. I think that we could also do is going through the stationery supplies, because, you know, we have a lot of things that we collected for the boys for when they're at school. You know, how many protractors do you really need? Set squares and things like that. Now, we do have a darker colour, again, like the chocolate brown. Oh. And I could use it to put in a little bit of shadow here and there, which I think I'm going to do only in a small area. I'm just thinking, here it is, chocolate, that I'm just going to use it sort of around the head area where to make the head look a little bit more 3-dimensional. So just really along here. So we're not doing it in the direction of hair anymore, we're just actually marking it out. Now here the hair is overlapping the face, so I'm not going to do it there, just around there. It's just a teeny touch, and I'm actually just going to put a few lines coming from it so it doesn't look so much just like a harsh line. There we go. So that's probably a little itty bitty fussy detail really. Okay, now we've got her. I'm not going to do her top until I've decided on the colours of everything else. Now we have our butterflies. I'm very tempted to do them. Now we've got blue eyes, and I'm thinking, should we do blue butterflies? I don't know how well they're going to match the red tulips, to be honest. But I'd really like to do them blue, so I think that is what I'm going to do. But we're going to do them a bit fancy. Do you want to do them a bit fancy? So her eyes were dark turquoise, weren't they? So we're going to use that. And we're going to come out a tad so you can see them all. And you see where they all are. So there's one there, and then our others are here. Actually, we can come in a bit more. I think you can see them all there. Can you see these? Yeah. Okay. So dark turquoise, and what I'm going to do is start really near the butterfly's body. I haven't coloured that yet, obviously, and get some really dark lines fading out. Okay, can you see? So just press near the body and then pull your pencil towards the edge of the butterfly just lifting it as you go, and you get a lighter line like that. We're going to do the same for every butterfly, keeping them, yeah, all the same in the way that they look. Now I've got a bit of a problem because I stopped the video because I noticed that the microphone was in the wrong place. I don't know how long I've been colouring for, and therefore how long this video is going to be. Oh well, I'll just have to make a guess, won't I? I tend to like videos in the series to be about the same length as each other. You can't always do it. My pencil is not as dark as it was there because I'm going a bit blunt. Push down a little tad harder to try and get the colour as similar as I can. Like that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, there we go. So the one's on the other side too. I'm trying to think about what colour to do these leaves on all round the edge, because I think they all need to be the same colour. It's a lot of leaves, isn't it? Might have to have a video just colouring leaves. Right. This book is quite near the front of the book. It's wibbling quite a bit. It might have been easier to put a book underneath, really. I'm going to sharpen up for my last one. I said I was going to do something fancy. I'm wondering whether I want to do it now. I was going to mix it with some turquoise to make it look sort of shimmery, but I'm not sure if it's going to work with the tulips. And oh, I've told you now, I've got to do it, haven't I? It's not that. Oh, my desk went clunk and sunk a little bit. Ooh. End up with it in my lap. That'd be entertaining, except you can't see, so yeah. Right, this is the turquoise green. We're going to use this to finish our butterflies. Now I want to go over the whole butterfly, apart from the body. Take the colour all the way to the tip of the wing, but sort of fading as you go. Sounds like there's some sort of female opera singer upstairs, and it's just my son. His voice has broken. He's got such a big vocal range, and he tries and tries to improve it as well. There we go. I quite like that colour combo. Well, I really like it actually. Yeah, so he wants to be, well, his dream job is making YouTube videos for the rest of his life, but he's not even monetized yet, so he needs more subscribers. So if anyone's in a kind mood and wants to subscribe to a Minecraft gamer, his details are actually on my YouTube homepage. You subscribe, and if you click the bell you can opt not to be notified when his videos come out, so you don't ever have to sort of worry about it again. But he's the one training to be an accountant. It's hard to imagine that he would make more money making videos than being an accountant, but anyway, he's I don't blame him wanting to do it. It's a really lovely thing to do. There we go. But it's unfortunately, YouTube is not a big payer. It doesn't even pay me enough to really put my fair share into the housekeeping, let alone him to be, you know, if he's living on his own or whatever, to pay his rent and stuff. But he was saying to me, oh, you should do a fundraiser on your Ko-fi, try and buy yourself a better computer that's a bit faster because yours is so slow. I was like, I know, but even if I raise the money, I don't know if I could justify buying a computer with it. I mean, obviously if I put that was what it was for, I would have to, but I feel like I should be putting my money into the housekeeping rather than spending it on things when I've got a computer that works. Yes, it's slow, but it works. So I just you know, I think, well, a lot of people haven't even got a computer, so I'm just very lucky that I've got one. But there we go. Then my husband had mentioned that he might let me have his laptop, which is really fast. It's a gaming laptop, it's like mega fast, but we'll see. He likes his things, so we'll see. It's hard to imagine him wanting to give it up, really. Right, we are getting there. There we go. Now we could decide on a colour for the bodies of our butterflies, and I'm not sure really. I'll have a little think. That bit needs to... Well, I think a grey. I always do grey, don't I? It's probably really boring. But what shade of grey? I'm thinking the granite. We've used that already, didn't we, when we did the eyes? But I think it's a good shade. We'd use it a little more solidly, so it stands out a bit, so we can see it. Now I'm tempted to put a black line around the edge of our butterflies and then put some white dots on them, because that's how I like drawing butterflies, especially if they've got these long bits here. But they do look quite pretty, don't they? I think I will leave it for now, and then I'll probably won't do it because I won't remember. Now what I'd really like for her dress is a pink, but we don't have one, so I can't do that. But I need to also decide on the colour of all these leaves. Now I quite like to use the foliage. It's a more of an olivey green, and I'm trying to work out, I don't think it's really necessarily going to match particularly well though. For me, I think this green is the best one. This is the grass green, but it's just too small. I don't think I've got enough pencil there to do all those leaves. So I could use the slightly light, whoops, the grass green 70%. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll start with this one. I've probably got enough of this one. So I'm going to colour all of the leaves in a layer of this pencil to start with. And they aren't just going to be plain coloured. We will add in some other colours after, but I think it'd be easier to put a base layer in, and it will also help me decide on whether to put a background in or not, which is always a bit of a question, isn't it? Background or no background, that is the question. Well, it sometimes just depends how it looks at the end, doesn't it? So we'll have a looky and decide later. These pencils do wear down quite quickly because they are soft, and and I like them sharp. Now, I was looking at the price. They're £3 each on Coloured Pencil Shop to buy open stock. And then it was about £6 postage, I think, for the amount that I looked at. Her postage is it generates once you filled your basket and you go to checkout. She doesn't have specific postage rates. She changes it depending on the change in post rates, which I don't blame her, because in the UK now postage changes twice a year. When I say changes, I mean goes up. It goes up twice a year, so keeping up with that and updating her website with the new postage rates would be quite difficult. Yeah, the price of stamps has sort of gone up massively in compared to general inflation. You know, prices always rise, and that's a fact. And our government try to keep that at about 2% on average. At the moment it's about 4%, I think. They try, I say, you know, don't succeed. But yeah, certain items have gone up much, much more. And I guess that always happens depending on, supply and demand and things like that. And, you know, things that affect prices, maybe like if oil goes up, then most things go up because of the sort of transportation, delivery, that sort of thing. But sometimes if certain things go up, it can have an impact on just a few items. It's always quite tricky to keep an eye on. I have noticed that food seems to be going up and up and up. It's just silly. But I don't know whether our weather this year has helped, because food prices can obviously be determined by the weather. If they're, you know, harvests and things like that. And we had a very warm spring and dry, and apparently it's been a really bumper year for apples, so I think they might be quite cheap coming, you know, once they ripen. But I'm not sure it's the same for other things. There's also the insect population in the UK is huge this year, which is interesting. And good news actually, because obviously pollinators are very useful, and we need them to survive, so that's good. And it's been butterflies, lots of butterflies. I've been noticing all the butterflies. It's lovely. And ladybirds, lots and lots of ladybirds, and wasps. Not so keen on the old wasps, but anyway, it's been, yeah, I saw there was a ladybird sitting on my garden bench, sitting on the cushion having a little sunbathe or a little snoozle when I was eating my lunch. It was very cute. I do like ladybirds. They bite apparently, but I don't think I've ever been bitten by one, but then maybe I've never aggravated one. You know, they aren't going to just randomly bite. I guess some animals do, but I don't think they do. But I wonder if people have noticed a lack of aphids, because ladybirds eat aphids. I think we call them black fly sometimes. Ladybirds eat those, so it can help keep those down. And I think black fly tend to live on roses. So maybe people who have roses have noticed a lack of black fly because of the amount of ladybirds. I don't really know. Of course, the weather that suited the ladybirds may have also suited the black fly. That might be why there's more of ladybirds. I don't know. Nature, it has its own interesting cycles, doesn't it? Food chain cycles. So this is all quite samey. It's actually quite relaxing to colour when you're sort of doing the same thing over and over. Some people find it a little bit dull. I have to be in the mood. Sometimes I want variety, and sometimes I want detail, and sometimes I don't, you know. Today I'm in just a weird mood. I don't know what's up with me. I just feel weird. I don't feel happy or sad. I don't feel tired or energized. I just feel a bit, I don't know, can't describe it. It's fine. I just feel weird. But anyway, I need to ring my mum. What time is it? 3:15. It's okay, what day is it? Wednesday. She might not be at home yet. She tends to go out for lunch on a Wednesday, but my dad doesn't get in till quite late. He plays badminton on a Wednesday morning, so he comes in and gets changed before showers and changes before they go for lunch. So they're usually quite late going out. It also depends where exactly they go for lunch. Sometimes it's a bit further away. And I know he was going to go and hunt for some hot beverage. He's been told by his urologist to give up all caffeine, including decaf, because there's still a bit of caffeine in decaf drinks, and to see whether that helps him. And so he's going to give it a go, because, you know, why not? So he was looking to see if he could buy some Caro or some barley cup, both of which are sort of barley drinks, so they have no caffeine. I think they tend to be barley, chicory and rye, and you can sort of mix them with hot water. And I'm trying to work out what that line there and that line there are, and I really can't work it out. So I'm just going to colour this. So he was going to go looking. I said to him, Caro is made by Nestle. I was really surprised. I used to drink it all the time, and used to really like it. But you can't seem to buy it in the UK anymore. It's sold in America and across most of Europe, made in Germany. But I couldn't find anywhere. But barley cup is sold in lots of places, but health food shops. But I remember drinking that once we couldn't get hold of Caro. I can see you can buy Caro on eBay. You can buy 6. This is in German, so obviously German seller, I think. German packaging on it. You can buy packs of 6, but if he decides he doesn't like it, then that's quite a lot to have to get through. I mean, he might decide he does like it by the time he's finished 6 packets, 6 cans, I guess it is. I don't know. Anyway, but there we go. He might be hunting for that. I'm not sure. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll give them a ring. Our phone wasn't working this morning. Quite a few phone lines. They were down recently as well. They seem to keep having problems. It was BT, EE and someone else. Well, with EE. Who piggyback on BT anyway, so it's the same company. I think everyone. Does everyone? Because surely BT owns all the phone lines. I don't know. British Telecom, they used to own all. It used to be a national company that owned all the phone lines, and then you could buy other companies. It was privatised, and then other companies were allowed to compete, but they don't have their own lines. They tend to use the ones that are already there. I guess cable doesn't. Anyway, it's all a bit of a mystery to me. I'm decided that I'm going to finish this bit, and then next time come back and make the green look much better. The leaves. We'll add some other colours in. Other greens I will add, just in case you're getting worried. I'm not going to put some reds in. That might be yellow, possibly. Maybe brown. I don't think it's an autumnal picture, so it won't be brown. But I'll find some more greens to make them look more interesting. And we will also do her top. And then I will think about what I'm going to do for the background, because I think I do need to do something. But what is the question on everyone's lips, including my own. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. Maybe, maybe not. Well, you will. I might not, because I might not do it tomorrow. But I won't be doing it today. That's for sure. I'm running out of things to say. I get to the point where I'm making videos for so long that I've just been yapping for so long that I haven't got much to say. I didn't have much to say when I started, actually. At lunchtime, I sort of sat down with my son and I didn't feel very talkative. And now I've made 2 videos, I'm even less talkative. I've said I'm going to phone my mum, but she chats, so that's good. So, well, she'll have something to say, I'm sure. But also, I talk to her about different things, like family gossip that I can't talk about on here. I don't think there is any at the moment. Nothing exciting circulating round the family grapevine. There isn't normally anything too scandalous or exciting until I start talking about my family to people that I know, and I say, oh, this happened and this happened, and I always do it to people who don't know my family rather than people that do, because they don't know them and I don't name them, and it's just fine. And I'll go, look, this happened. I remember my friend saying to me once, you could be in an episode of EastEnders. So much happens in your family. And I was like, I think it's just because the family's big. I don't think it's because, we're particularly exciting. It's just lots of family. My mum's one of 12. My dad's one of 3. But his mother was one of 14, I think. I'm not sure. Had lots of kids back in the day, didn't they? And then I've got loads of cousins and they've got kids, and it goes on and on. And I've also got in-laws. They're not so scandalous. They're well behaved, pretty much. But so there's a lot going on. And I think also things that the older generation think is sort of scandalous, the younger generation don't bat an eyelid. It's normal for them, whatever it might be. And they're just not so easily shocked, I don't think. I say, well, back in the day, that was like, wow. And they're like, oh. So, yeah. And I guess they'll see change as they grow. But I don't have much change in their sort of memorable lifetime. Okay, we are going to leave that there for today. It looks like it could be finished there if you've had enough, but her top hasn't been coloured. You might think that's enough, I'm done. But we're going to come back and we're going to do something more interesting with those leaves. We're going to do a top and think about a background. I may decide not to do a background, but I still got to think about a background and whether I'm doing one or not and that sort of thing. So there'll be those things to do in the next episode. So thank you for watching today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.